to Key Conversations, where we will be talking about all the things to inspire and motivate you to have a sustainable and fulfilling career. This season, I am speaking about the process of releasing new music and sort of following and documenting my journey of releasing my album Luminary, which you can find at IamAluminary.com. So today I want to talk about the first thing that happens. I don't want to spend too much time with this creative process because we all have different ones, and that's not what this podcast is about for this season. But I want to talk about actually recording and writing and recording the music, and some things that are a good idea to do while you're in that process that will save you some headache later. So the first thing is, not everyone writes their own songs, which is totally great. If you are co-writing, you want to make sure that before you sit down, there is an understanding and an agreement in writing about who gets what from this song. I know that can feel a little awkward. Walking in, you're trying to get vulnerable and share this creative moment. But what I do, and sometimes I do it at the end of the session, but I never leave the room without getting something written down. And even with people that I thought were better writers than me and I was really intimidated by, they had some hits, and I was like, hey, can we just, jot down that this was a 50-50? And then we would talk about who owns the master. So if someone's going to put it on a record, then that's, you can negotiate who owns the master because they're going to be putting out the cost and promoting it and all that stuff. So generally, you just want to make sure that the writers and the publisher share goes 50-50 to you and your co-writer. If there are three of you, then split it three ways. I never, even if I'm working with a younger artist, I don't let parents in the room, because even if they sneeze, they could inspire a lyric and then later on claim that they were part of that writing process. So you want to just make sure that everyone in the room is getting what you all agree upon, and you just write it down. I just have a little pad that says we agreed to 50-50, and I write it out in handwriting, and then we both sign it. And really what it tells my co-writers is that I am taking this seriously, that I plan on doing something with this song, and I intend for it to be big so that it actually matters that we have an agreement. So don't be wonky about that, and just say, hey, let's just get this out of the way. We're pros, we got to do this, got to do it. So make sure that anyone that you're collaborating with, you have an agreement in place. And then when it comes time to recording, there's so many different ways to record now. I have done a variety of different things. I used to work at a jingle house, so I recorded a CD there and had a friend that worked there help me engineer it and set up the mics. I had worked in a recording studio earlier in my career. One of the first jobs I ever had was actually an internship, unpaid internship. And so I was lucky enough to know how to do some of this recording stuff on my own. So I was able to help out when I could, reduce the cost of studio time. My fifth record, I was at a composer residency in Greece, and I had a studio, and I just brought this little mic that I have, this Apogee 96K, or I don't know, it's got a funny little name. And I brought it with me, and I didn't intend on recording a record, and I did, and it sounds great. So, having some random opportunity to get 2 weeks to yourself and write and record something is very special. So just be prepared. If you are working in a studio, you definitely want to find out your day rates. You want to find out cancellation fees. You want to know ahead of time all the things you need to do so that you don't get screwed and so that they're also feeling taken care of. You really are going into a partnership with any studio engineer, and so you want to treat it as such. You want to make sure that you're feeling completely taken care of, as are they. So ask all the questions, be upfront with anything that you might need. Don't wait to get there to find out that they don't have a drum kit and you have to go rent one or find something, so make sure that you have a list of everything that you may need for this recording session, and anything that they need that they might not have, and make sure that you're both managing each other's expectations. Get everything in writing. Make sure that you know about whether or not they require a deposit up front, or do you pay afterwards. Money can be an awkward thing for people, so if you're just clear on all the things, you will avoid a lot of awkward conversations, and some people have even burned bridges because of money. Imagine that. So you don't want to find yourself in that situation, whatever that situation could be. So just be really, really communicative. This is what this comes down to. It's all about being in communication and just really acting like the professional that you are. and get that if you are even considering spending money on anything for your music, that you are a professional. So professional doesn't mean that you're making a certain amount of money or that you've had any certain successes. If you are doing this, if you are putting money out, you are professional. So treat yourself like one and treat your partners as ones as well. I'm trying to think if there are any other thoughts that I have around recording this stuff. I think a couple things to leave the studio with. Get everyone's names. Anyone that helped on this record, including interns. If someone went out and got you coffee or cleaned up while you were there, it is always a great thing to give that person a credit in your record. It is sometimes the only thing that they get. Make sure you check with your engineers that you're spelling their name correctly. All of any instrumental players that are there, make sure that you are spelling their name correctly, that you have the name of their instrument correct. You can just write it down and be like, does this read well for you? Get their email and contact so that if you have any questions or if you want to register them with the credit websites, you are able to do that. It is so much easier to do all of this stuff when you have the people in the room. Trust me, like chasing people down afterwards over email or text, it's like the worst. So make sure you leave that studio with all of the names right, who mastered it, if you're doing the mastering there, any interns, the name of the studio, location, all the stuff, right? That will save you a lot of headache later, especially when it comes time to write out your liner notes, which we will talk about at a later episode. So, that's, not getting into the creative process too much in terms of just communicating with the people that are involved in your record. That's sort of the things that I have learned over the years over producing 5 records. And yeah, my last record, it was just me. I produced it, I mixed it, I did everything myself. I did have someone come in and advise my mixes. I did have a master engineer. I was in communication with them. Even in my early recording processes, like, what do you think you're going to need to hear from this? How should I mix this? How much headroom do you need in the audio tracks? Just being really curious. So for me, it comes down to being curious, asking a lot of questions. No one's going to be annoyed that you're asking questions so that you can make their job easier. So let's keep it there for now. If you are in the process of releasing a record, stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of stuff every week. This is a linear process. You do one thing and then you do the next thing. It does not need to be overwhelming. It feels complicated only because there are many steps, and I'm going to break them all down for you. So make sure to go check out my new record, Music for Mindfulness, Growth, and Focus. It's called Luminary. It's piano ambient music. I think you'll like it. Go to IamAluminary.com and please subscribe. Thanks so much for being here. I will see you next time.